right, Uncle
Now,
Ben.
wait a minute, Peter. We need to talk anymore. You shirk your chores. You have all those weird experiments in your room. You start fights at school.
I didn't start that fight. I told you that.
Well, you sure as hell finished.
What was I supposed to do? Run away?
No, you're not supposed to run away, but... Pete, look, you're changing. I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Peter, these are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into. This guy Flash Thompson, he probably deserved what happened. But just because you can be, doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Is that him? Peter! Peter!
Peter!
Peter!
Assemble. I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Marvelous Discussions. So, for those of you who've been with my channel since the beginning, you know I actually already did a review on this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. This was back before Marvelous Discussions was a thing, and this was actually my very first movie review. But with No Way Home coming out, and given what time of year this movie ends, I thought now would be the perfect time. Well, brand new day, I don't remember what I said. With brand new day coming out next year and where this movie ends, I thought now would be the perfect time to review this movie, re-review this movie with Socks Bulletins. How are you, man?
I'm doing very good, sir, and I'm wearing my Spider-Man hat, so I appreciate being back. Thank you.
I appreciate having you back. And wait, why are you repeating? Oh, yeah. Yeah, normally I'm not going to repeat reviews, Zod, but because I wanted to do this in the Marvelous Discussion format, and my channel at that point was just developing at the time, so I didn't have Marvelous Discussions. So I'm not normally going to do this, just so people know. So the holiday special, Gunny Poo's Guardians Holiday special, that one's not getting re-reviewed. So sorry, Socks, we're not doing that one for Marvelous Discussions. I'm not giving him the re-review. But you feeling excited to review this movie today?
It's a Spider-Man movie. It's an MCU film. It's a Spider-Man movie that I truly love. Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. This movie that has the best Spider-Man ever, as well as Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. So let's get ready.
No, that would be Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and the other guy. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, before we get started, because on the last Marvelous discussion, my co-host failed to remind me, so this is all Sock's fault. 100% on Socks, but the One Punch Man
His fault. He forgot.
The One Punch Man cinematic universe first movie comes out in 2026. So guys, get ready. It's going to be a great movie. I'm really excited and I can't wait. And I would say that other guy for the One Punch Man, that applies to just Josh. Just Josh is that other guy. But see, Qatar's on the right path. Qatar has it right.
Anyway.
Anyways, Cordovan Speedster, you excited for One Punch Man?
Very much so. I know Zod's been putting in a lot of work, a lot of time. Man is being very patient, and he's doing the best he can, and I have total faith in him. Zod will deliver a great film. I totally appreciate what he's doing. Take your time, Zod Rider. It'll be well worth it. Hey, Sin.
What up, Sin Havoc? Oh, yeah. Don't think we forgot Sin Havoc. I know you said Spider-Man is an overrated superhero. We remember that. So
yeah, okay. Yeah, I forgot that. That's crossing my lines there, sir.
Anyway, though, guys, One Punch Man comes out next year, so be on the lookout. Yep, Sin Havoc is in it too. He started it. But now, let's get on to No Way Home. So I'm going to start off right off the bat because I think this is a big point of contention. Whose fault was it? So the whole plot of the movie, the whole issue of the multiverse collapsing and all the heroes and villains coming over to Earth 616, who was really at fault? Peter Parker or Dr. Stephen Strange? Socks, go.
Doctor Strange was wrong. He knew what he's doing with the magic spell. He knew how to handle it. He messed up. He messed up at the beginning of the film, and that's why there was a bunch of snow and ice in the Sanctum Sanctuarium because of his goofy ass. So all fault goes on Doctor Strange.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. Why they say it's Spider-Man's fault? Because Spider-Man botched up the spell. No, Dr. Stephen Strange told him a very important detail after he started casting the spell. Like, if he's a doctor, and he was actually a doctor in the medical field, there's this thing called consent. If a doctor performs a surgery on you and doesn't tell you a major side effect of the surgery while he's performing it on you, that's not enough reasonable consent time for the patient. And in this case, with Peter Parker, he's a kid. He asked Stephen Strange to undo the spell because it messed with his memory, messed with his life. But But Doctor Strange didn't think to tell him that absolutely everyone, was going to forget until he actually did the spell. Of course, he was going to be like, "Wait, no, we can't do it like this, right?" No, Sin Havoc. If the entire world knew you were a superhero and your friends and family's lives were getting affected, you would want to undo it too. Dr. Strange is a grown-ass adult. He knew what he was doing, and he didn't need to tell Peter a very important detail until after he cast the spell. Because all he had to do was sit down, talk to Peter. The instant Peter had doubts, he should have said, "Okay, you know what? Forget it. Let's talk this through. We can talk this through, and then I'll cast the spell again." Who should know? Because if they had talked about it, they could have been like, "Okay, everyone who knew on this day prior to can know." Or No, you stop making excuses for Stephen Strange. He cast a spell. He didn't know. He didn't tell Peter the details till after he started casting it. This is on Stephen Strange, not on Spider-Man. So it really irritated me that Spider-Man got all this blame for something that was 100% Stephen Strange's fault. And Sox agrees with me. And you think Spider-Man's overrated, Sin Havoc, so I think you have a conflict of interest. We're not talking about Secret Wars. We're talking about No Way Home. And I'm sorry, Sin Havoc, you have way too much bias in this. So I think Sox and I both agree. What up, Sean Franklin? Sox and I both agree Stephen Strange is at fault, not Spider-Man. So now that we got that out of the way, because if we spend too much time debating about this, we're not going to have a stream at all. The overall story minus the nostalgia. So taking out the fact that we got to see the heroes and villains from the previous movies in this one, just taking out that hype factor, what was your thoughts on the story, Sox?
I actually liked the story because the story was made sense, because Peter is having to deal with his secret being out there, his aunt now being targeted, his girlfriend being targeted, his friends being targeted, his school that he goes to is being targeted. Everything around him is now a target because his identity's been exposed. So he's got to do whatever he can to try to take the pressure off everybody that's around him and get it on him and try to fix this thing. Okay? And Peter will go to great lengths to do just that, no matter what. I actually thought that story was done well. I really did, because I've been reading Spider-Man since the early 80s, and I mean like early 80s. Watched every cartoon, every movie except for 2 that I won't talk about. And I know the complete lore and history of the greatest comic book character ever created. Thank you.
We're not talking about Batman, though, Sox.
No, we are not talking about him.
But overall, I like the story. I like that, that Spider-Man is dealing with the consequences of what happened, is the fact that the whole world knows his identity through something that is definitely not a fault of his own. And he's trying to do what he can to protect his friends and family. Some parts of the story is a little clunky to me, like how exactly that spell tampered with the multiverse. Like, I'm going to forget everyone who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and somehow that brings over people from the other universes who know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and Electro, because he didn't really find out, but that's another point. I mean, I go back and forth if that really made a lot of sense, honestly. But what I do love about the story is I really love Spider-Man, Tom Holland, dealing with the morality of helping people. Because that's the other part of the story I love, is that he had the opportunity to fix everything within the second act of the movie. His aunt would be alive. He wouldn't have to do the spell to make everyone forget who Peter Parker was. But he did it because he's Spider-Man. He helps people. And I like that they address, because that was one thing that was weird with the last Spider-Man movies, is they kind of forget that none of the villains were completely at fault. And I'm not like being funny when I say this. Norman Osborn was mind controlled by the serum. Dr. Otto Octavius was mind controlled by the arms. The Lizard was mind controlled. The most innocent version of the Lizard, of Kirk Connors, who got the worst punishment at the end. And even Electro, his mind was jumbled. Flint Markle, not so much, but I like that was addressed too. So I think overall it's a pretty good story, and it's one where Spider-Man steps up. And I'll say this too. I think this movie, to me, makes the other 2 movies before it retroactively better. And we'll kind of talk more about that when we get into the Tom Holland segment, but... No, Zod. I'm sorry. No, I love One Punch Man. I do, but not Batman. I even though I play this character and I do play One Punch Man or Spider-Man could not beat Batman. In fact, I'll even go as far as saying this. If they had Batman helping them, there wouldn't even be a conflict in this movie. All the villains would have been subdued, and they would have had a cure within seconds for all of them. But that's too bad Batman wasn't there to help them.
Within seconds.
Yep.
You're going to cause me to have an aneurysm, sir. You're going to cause me to have an aneurysm live on stream one day by swinging on Batman's nutsack, okay? But within seconds, my aneurysm is going to pop here. No, blood's going to shoot out my nose, and I'm going to be gone.
Okay, but we'll move on to the next topic. Within the same amount of time, Batman would beat the Spider-Man villains in this movie. The opening. Socks, what was your thoughts on the opening of this movie?
It literally picks up right after part 2 ends. Right there. Right? It goes right into it, man. It's like within the same matter of seconds, man. The same couple minutes, man. And it's funny when Spider-Man grabs MJ and takes her away because, you know, the mob is getting on her right now because his identity's been posted on the Titantron by Jonah Jameson. And he swings across, you know, the city to get back to his apartment, and the helicopters are coming in. They're focusing right on the apartment, and we find out that Aunt May's been hooking up with Happy Hogan, and she's like, I'm done with this. It was a summer fling, you know, time to move on. And Hogan is just not having that at all. But the helicopters are right there. And they're trying to fix this whole thing. Like, we got something we got to tell you. It's a big news.
Yeah, I like the opening too. I mean, I like that they deal with the consequences of what happened. But what I also liked about it is that I'm glad they didn't dwell on Spider-Man being a fugitive for too long, because honestly, there wasn't a lot of proof out there, because we are in a country of innocent till proven guilty. That is, I mean, so in terms of the law, Peter Parker really should not have been a fugitive for that long. And in fact, I liked, you know, and we'll talk more about the Matt Murdock cameo itself, but I liked how they addressed it. The legal problems are over, but public opinion is a thing. I mean, look at me, look at how much I defend Ezra Miller. And last year, the literal guy who accused Ezra Miller said, hey guys, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And people still accuse Ezra because public opinion a lot of times trumps logic. And it's funny though, like before, when I saw this movie at first, obviously there was no controversy surrounding Ezra Miller at that time. But after rewatching it, it really, after how much I've defended Ezra Miller, it really kind of makes me look at this in a whole new perspective. It's like, yeah, that's a thing. Once something's out there, you can't completely put it back. It's like toothpaste. You know, you can't get it all back in the tube. You can get most of it back in the tube, but there's still some of it that's going to be left on the paper. And I feel bad for Peter seeing all these people believe Mysterio when we viewers, we know Mysterio's the bad guy. We know he is. But it's so... Yeah, exactly.
Well, I like your analogy about the toothpaste, but I think my analogy works just as well. When a guy has sex with a girl and he pops inside of her, she ends up pregnant. You can't become a little bit of pregnant. You can't put the sperm back inside the dude because it's already inside the woman. So,
yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, unfortunately, there is consequences with that, and I like that was addressed. So I feel like it set up the story really well. I do think it moved a little fast, though. Like, I felt like it was a product of... Well, remember what Mikey Sutton said, that originally it was going to be Kraven the Hunter in this movie. There was going to be no multiverse thing. And Tom Holland himself even confirmed that. And I could kind of tell in the opening a little bit that was a product of that, is that they had to kind of move it along kind of quickly to get to what the new version of the movie is. So, Spider-Man, no sperm. I sure Sokka's going to get me canceled one day. But overall, though, I think the opening is really good and a little rushed, but I understand why it was. And I don't think there was much of a better way to do it. So now let's get into the characters. So Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Peter 1, Tom Holland. So because it's going to get really confusing. But what was your thoughts of Tom Holland's Peter in this movie, Socks?
I honestly think as the films have progressed further along the years that they've come out, I think he's become more and more connected to this character in a lot of ways than it was even in the first film. Because you can see as he's growing with the character, right? If that makes any sense. And he's gone from the days of him being in Tony Stark's shadow to becoming what he is now. And it'll continue to grow as the franchise continues. Like, for example, Harry Potter. Harry Potter was one way when it first started out. By the time it ended the franchise, he was a grown man taking responsibility and leading the way for the next generation, just like Peter Parker will.
Absolutely. And what I like about this movie, though, too, is that I think this is Tom Holland's best movie. I always say it's this and Civil War, his best movies. And what I like about this is Tom Holland, as a character, he really steps up. And because there was an issue I had with him in the first two movies, is that he's reliant on Tony Stark. He's reliant on the Avengers, on all the connections that he has to other people. He's not just this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But in this movie, you literally, he becomes the Spider-Man that we all know. And it felt like in this movie, those other two movies now made more sense. Essentially, this trilogy acts as an origin story for Spider-Man, the one that we know. And I really like that here, is that you see him really step up as the hero, the Spider-Man that we know, is that he gives up everything at the end, gives up his connections, gives up his life, and is just the man on the streets. And that no, Zod, it's Doctor Strange who messes up the multiverse, not Spider-Man. Let's stop blaming Spider-Man for Doctor Strange's mess. But I really love how he steps up. But also, at the end of in the final fight, you see him, he takes charge, he takes the lead, because he's the one who has actually worked in a team. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield never worked in a team, but Tom Holland has. And you really see that team experience set up in this movie at the end. And then I love that his humanity is that he was willing to save all the villains, all the people who are wrongfully, or not wrongfully, but who are mind controlled or their minds are affected. And Spider-Man, he doesn't want to send them back to just die, even though it's the easier way to do it. He wants to do it the right way. So there's so many great things about Tom Holland in this movie. And I think, again, he learns to not have all these technologies, the Stark technology. He has to actually do this on his own now. So I really love Tom Holland in this movie. I think of his trilogy, this is his best movie. I mean, I would say this even if the other two Spider-Man weren't in this movie.
Yeah.
And Sin Havoc, we're not talking about future movies. I'm talking about this movie. Spider-Man, he is not at fault in this movie. Maybe he screws something up later on, but we can talk about it then. In this movie, he didn't screw up. Doctor Strange did. But I guess, Socks, anything else you want to say about Tom Holland in this movie?
No, we can move on. I know Sin Havoc were ripping this a new one, but that's fine. We can move on.
Anyway, MJ Watson. So, Socks, what's your thoughts on MJ, on not Mary Jane?
I'm going to say this very delicately, decently, and nicely. I don't like race swapping characters at all. I've had to deal with it for years in films. We all have. I'm not a fan of Zendaya. I don't really think she's Mary Jane whatsoever. In fact, we all know that she's supposed to be Michelle Jones. She plays the role of a character, but that's not Mary Jane. I will never consider her Mary Jane. I consider her just there. I don't hate her, but whoever casted that actress to play that character needs to be fired from the studio. I know that wasn't a Feige casting. That was Sony. That I know for sure. That was Sony that did that. And that's fine. They got their little whatever they want to get in there. I don't hate her as a human being, I just don't like her as that character. Mary Jane, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to comic books. It should be white girl, redhead, white girl. I wouldn't cast a black man to play Batman. I wouldn't cast a Chinese man to play Batman. I just have a very ill feeling towards race swapping. Any character, whether it's white, black, Latino, Asian, male or female, any character, it should not happen at all. But we're coming out of the woke era. So the least said about her character to me, the better. So I will give her a pass because she at least did some good things in this film. I'll give her that. She did do some good things in this film. She did help out when she needed to help out. At least she wasn't an overbearing nightmare to deal with, as a character. So please take the rest of the conversation towards that on your own, because I'm just don't care for this character whatsoever, and she's my least favorite character in the Spider-Man films.
I'm not going to touch on the race swapping too much, but one thing I have noticed, I feel like in recent years, it's the redheads they seem to want to go after. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I will say it seems to be the redheads they want to be the ones that they want to change. I mean, look, Zendaya is not the best actress in the world. I do like her chemistry with Tom Holland. I think they have really good chemistry, and it's also the fact that they're now an item in real life and even engaged in real life. But also DC Talk, fun fact, she actually was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but her scene was cut. But I mean, with this character,
that's true. Yeah.
So the way I look, judging her, so if I were to judge her as Mary Jane Watson, she's a terrible character. Like, she's nothing like Mary Jane in the comics. They only made her called Watson because they wanted to give her some semblance of Mary Jane. But as an original character who's supportive of Spider-Man, I think she does what she needs to do. I think she's supportive of Tom Holland. I think she's supportive of Peter Parker, I should say. She's supportive of Peter Parker. She's there for him. She clearly does love him. She clearly does care for him. And she was smart enough to know how to answer the police's questions when they were trying to interrogate her, unlike Ned Leeds. But I did like her as a character, as an original character, and she is the only one who calls out Stephen Strange in this movie. Everyone else wants to blame Peter Parker for it's clearly Stephen Strange's fault, but MJ's like, this is kind of, this was your spell, so this is kind of your fault too. She's the only one who can call him out on that. So I give her props for that, but
that's true.
I don't think she will, Zod, because I think Mikey Sutton even said that this MJ and Peter get married at the end of the college trilogy. Plus, okay. I mean, she is an original character, right? I mean, that's what I'm calling it. I'm just saying that she may be this Peter Parker's love interest, endgame love interest, I should say. And especially now that Tom Holland and Zendaya are an actual item, it may be even harder to not have them end up together. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, Sox. This probably isn't something Feige would have done. This is probably more of a Sony thing, but as I said, decent as an original character, terrible as Mary Jane. And just the personality, too. She doesn't really strike me as anything like Mary Jane. Like, I haven't read a lot of the comics, but when I play the Spider-Man game, like, two completely different characters right there. Like, they don't...
Right.
So anyway, now let's move on to the Hobgoblin. Ned Leeds, who is not the Hobgoblin, but I do know, Socks, I do happen to know that when Ned Leeds, when they talk about with Tobey Maguire about how his best friend died after trying to kill him, how Ned Leeds is like, I promise I won't try to kill you. They've played it off as a joke, but no, he's the Hobgoblin. He probably will try to kill you. And I do have a prediction, Socks. I think what's going to happen, since Ned Leeds lost his friendship with Peter, I think he's not going to have like some anchor, and I think that spell's going to cause him to go bad in a future movie.
Well, technically, there's one little issue with what you just said about Ned Leeds. Ned Leeds is not the Hobgoblin. In the comics, he was never the Hobgoblin. He was.
What? I thought he was
brainwashed, and not in the comics. The comics, Hobgoblin is Roderick Kingsley is the Hobgoblin. Or if you want to go by the second Hobgoblin, Jason Macendale. Roderick Kingsley was fooling everybody for the longest time, for years. And Ned Leeds caught wind of who he may have been and kidnapped Ned Leeds when he was reported for the Daily Bugle and brainwashed him into believing that he was into Ned Leeds was thrown in Toronto.
Looks like Socks is frozen.
Ned is Hobgoblin's nephew. Where'd you get that one from?
Okay, StreamYard is misbehaving with Socks again, so sorry about that, Socks. So, but yeah, in terms of his friendship, though, with Peter, I do like that he is a good supportive friend to Peter. I do find it funny, though, that he's a third wheel a lot in this movie. Like, every time that Peter and MJ try to have a moment together, there's Ned Leeds who's there at the end of the movie. Oh, you're just talking, or not at the end of the movie, just anywhere. Like, when they're on the roof, Peter and MJ just want to have some alone time, and there's Ned trying to be alone, being that third wheel with them. So I do find that kind of funny. Well, yeah, I think he probably will become the Hobgoblin, because whatever happens in the comics, this isn't the comics. You know, Peter has a different girlfriend, for crying out loud. Good one, Zod. Good one, Zod. Yeah. Yeah, brought that stream to a halt. Absolutely. But that's what happens with StreamYard sometimes, so StreamYard can really mess things up. So yeah, but overall, though, Ned Leeds, again, he's another good supportive friend. I find it interesting that he does seem to have magic from Stephen Strange's ring, though, that he was actually able to open the portals. I'm curious if that's going to actually go anywhere, if that was just a bit for the... Anyway, Socks, you're back. So, can you hear me, Socks?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, it happens. But anyway, what's your thought on Ned Leeds in this film?
I have not liked the kid that played Ned Leeds in any of this Spider-Man. That's what I did. I'm sorry. I just don't, I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the actor. I don't hate the kid. He is it's not Peter's best friend. You know, that's just something that, you know, they just jammed in there, and it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work for me. You know, I accept it for what it is, but Ned to me is always remained as a reporter. I was married to Lee Brandt. That worked for the debut, and then he was taken out by the real Hobgoblin. You know.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Again, I'm not as attached in the Marvel comics as you are, so you're definitely the Marvel guy. Though I do have a Spider-Man ornament on my Christmas tree. But anyways, Stephen Strange, the one who is at fault. That Sox and I both agree is at fault. But anyways, Sox, what's your thoughts on Stephen Strange in this movie?
You know, there was a line that it was not in the movie, but it was in the trailer. And I will never forget this line where Peter, Ned, and MJ are in Doctor Strange's basically trying to tell him. The line is this: Scooby-Doo this shit. Remember that line? It was in the trailer? It's not in the movie.
There is a Scooby-Doo line in the movie.
I cracked up laughing, but it's not in the movie.
No, there is a Scooby-Doo line in that movie.
There is? I don't remember that. I could have sworn they took it out.
Oh no, I saw that in the movie yesterday.
Well, either that line messed me up because that's when MJ, God help me, says to him, "You're the reason why we're in this situation, not us. You need to Scooby-Doo this shit."
Yeah, because he is. No, he's not innocent in Havoc. He was the one who cast the spell. He was the one who didn't tell Peter the important details of the spell till after it had already been cast. Peter Strange, he is at fault, not Peter. But anyways. I mean, I don't know, like, he just kind of irritated me in this movie, honestly. He was just being such an asshole. And then he got, like, mad at Peter that he didn't, like, go to the college admissions to plead their case. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, but that wasn't the only reason he had Strange cast that spell. I mean, even if you take out college, I mean, his lives and his family and friends' lives were still being ruined. It's not like college was the reason. So he kind of irritated me there. And I feel like they underpowered him to make Spider-Man look good. Like in the whole fight in the Mirrorverse where Spider-Man takes him out with math, I'm like, I don't know if that's how Spider-Man or Doctor Strange's magic works. I don't think it's supposed to work like that, but I don't know. It didn't matter, though, Sin Havoc, okay? Because there were still other things that were an issue, not just the college. So, I don't know. Anyways, I feel like Stephen Strange, again, he kind of irritated me.
Two things. Two. Well,
okay.
I'll say this because I know I'm roboting again. It's not my fault. First of all, Qatar, Zendaya is the other Sydney Sweeney. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Seriously. And you have gone to a level that I can't get to. Zendaya is the other. Have you not seen Sydney Sweeney? Seriously. Have you not seen Sydney Sweeney? And you know what I do when I'm doing this, right? First, now let's be real here now, okay? Now, second of all, Peter Parker is a genius. He's a genius. And when a genius, he made Tony Stark look like a moon, okay? And Tony Stark is nowhere near Peter Parker's level of being a genius. So when Peter beat Doctor Strange with geometry, now smarter than him, I can believe it. Because I've seen Peter Parker Spider-Man do a lot of genius type stuff in the that would make you go, damn, he's that smart. Yes. His brain is way smarter than Tony Stark. Okay? It took Reed Richards a very long time to get to Peter Parker's level in biochemistry. So when people want to challenge me on Spider-Man, know your homework before you come to me to challenge me on Spider-Man. Okay? Because screw you. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that it's just not how the magic works. I mean, if it were Batman fighting him, I could buy that a little more, but I did. Anyway, Stephen Strange in this movie, not his best movie in my opinion, but he was there for the plot, and he was the traditional MCU character they got to put in the Spider-Man movie so that you know that this is an MCU movie. But no, Sin Havoc, no. Anyways, next character, if it feels like popping up, Happy Hogan. Okay character in this movie. I like that he gave Spider-Man and Aunt May a home, even though they just broke up. But he's a good supportive friend of Peter. And I felt bad for him at the end when he's at Aunt May's tombstone, even though he doesn't really know why he was so close to her. It's like, oh yeah, through Spider-Man. Yeah, but how through Spider-Man? But anyways, Sox, what's your thoughts on Happy in this movie?
His role was really small in this one compared to the other ones, but that's fine. He was a supporting character, and it was, I don't think we're going to be seeing much more of Happy Hogan in the future films. At least I don't think so. We probably won't see any more in the future films. But, I had no problem. I thought he did a good job as a film interest for Aunt Hattie.
Now let's move on to the villains. Norman Osborn / Green Goblin. Okay, Sox, when William Dafoe returned as the greatest Spider-Man villain ever, what was your thoughts?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, this guy embodies Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin through and through. This is how Norman was back in the day. By since he was created, he weird split personality complex going on for a while, and William Dafoe nails this character to a T. As much as Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. This guy is through and through the Green Goblin. I don't know they're ever going to be able to top that with another actor because it's so spot on how he captured that character. I love it. Can the spider come out to play? I was like dying laughing. I was like, that goblin bomb. I love that goblin bomb so much, man.
Yeah, I mean, that goblin bomb's the whole reason Peter had to have Strange cast that spell, because if he didn't use that bomb to blow up Strange's spell box, then the spell wouldn't have broken like that. But I love William Dafoe. Wow. Sin Havoc. Wow. Okay. But I really love William Dafoe in this movie. I like how they gave him a new look, because in the first movie, he just has a mask on the whole time. But what I like about this one is you really got to see William Dafoe play the Green Goblin, like really see his facial expressions in this movie. The way he changes his facial expressions to the Green Goblin, he does such a good job. And I like it. A lot of people don't remember, there was an interview where he said a big condition of him coming back is that he wanted to do the physical stuff. He wanted to do his own stunts. He didn't want someone else to do the stunts for him. He wanted to do his own stunts. And I thought that was really cool. It really showed, William Dafoe really shows dedication to his work. Like, I legitimately think he is one of the best actors out there. Like, he is a really good actor, a really phenomenal actor. And I really see it in this movie. The way, again, just the way he plays the menacing goblin is so great. And I love that in this movie they address it more, because a minor issue I do have in Spider-Man 2002 is that I feel like they kind of forget the fact that Norman Osborn and Green Goblin are two totally different people. I feel like that was kind of forgotten about in that movie, where I feel like here they addressed it a lot more, which I really liked. Is that they addressed that, hey, he is Spider-Man. He is Green Goblin and Dafoe I can't even talk right now. Sorry. That Norman Osborn and Green Goblin, they are different people. They are different personalities. And oh, you're talking about Tom Holland. Okay. But overall, I love William Dafoe as Green Goblin. Seeing him back was so great. I really liked how they moved on from the mask this time, and you really got to see his face a lot. It worked really well for this movie. So, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, we can move on.
One quick thing I will say, they probably shouldn't have trusted him so much, though, when they were trying to turn the villains back to normal. I'm like, if he's telling you the exact truth, he could turn back into the Green Goblin at any minute, and you wouldn't even realize it. So, maybe be careful about that. But anyways, Otto Octavius / Dr. Octopus. Sox, I have one question for you. This is something I thought of rewatching the movie yesterday. If the nanites from Spider-Man's suit took over the arms, couldn't he have technically used those nanites to turn Otto back to normal? I mean, it was the arms that were corrupting his mind. But if he has control of the arms, he could take the mind control aspect out right then and there. Shouldn't he have been able to do that? Sox is frozen again. So, why wait for Sox to come back? I'm just saying that it just felt like he should have been different. Felt like he should have been able to turn back to... Oh, no. I'm sorry, Sin Havoc. That is... Oh, no. Sin Havoc is really choosing some fighting words today, I gotta say. And... What up, Austin? Thanks for stopping by. Well, let us know. What is it? Yeah, I know. Zod. I know. Oh, yeah. No problem, Austin. But, yeah, so while we wait for Sox to come back. But, yeah, I really do like seeing him back in this movie. He does a really good job, and I love that scene with him and Peter too, Tobey Maguire, at the end when he's back to normal, and seeing the two of them talk and actually catch up. That was really great to see. It was a nice moment that I'm glad we got. I will say, though, I don't know if Tom Holland was really saving Doc Ock that much. I mean, when he goes back to their Earth, he has Peter 2 in his arm at the end of Spider-Man 2. The fusion reactor that he has to take down is still in play. I'm just saying, even though, yeah, he turned him back to normal, when he gets sent back, he still has to sacrifice himself to take down that fusion reactor. So, I don't know if he really saved Doc Ock, honestly. And... Oh, no, Sin Havoc. No. Not even close. Not even close. Sin Havoc is full of really bad takes on this stream. I don't know, Zod. I don't know if it's Zendaya causing this or if Sox is being punished for Sin Havoc's bad takes. I don't know. I think it's Sin Havoc's bad takes that are disrupting this stream. No. Sorry, but you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong in that one. No. 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 So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think his fate was really that much in. His fate really would have changed as much as the other ones. Like Norman Osborn. Okay, so he's back to normal. So now that fight on the bridge is not going to happen. Right? That whole fight on the bridge is not going to happen. He's not going to accidentally kill himself in an attempt to kill Peter too. Like his fate was spared. Doc Ock, Otto Octavius, not that much. What up, Socks?
Hey, man, just trying to do something a little different here. Let's see if this works now.
Okay, yeah, no problem. But what's your thoughts on Doc Ock in this movie?
Alfred Molina's a solid actor, dude. I mean, I've always liked him. I think he does a good job as Dr. Octopus. You know, I really did. He turned out to be a hero in this film because he's the one that, you know, after he gets saved by Peter, he helps out the rest of them by helping them get cured as well.
Yeah, that was something that was interesting, is that even though the chip was destroyed, he was still able to hold on to his humanity for the final fight. So I thought that was really interesting. But I gotta say this though, Socks. I was asking this. Did they really save Doc Ock, though? Because when he finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, when he's transported, it's when his tentacle is around Peter 2's throat and the fusion reactor is already created. He still has to drown that fusion reactor when he's back. Like, this wasn't before he turned on that fusion reactor. I'm just saying that he's still going to die when he gets back home. Unlike the other guys, he's dead. He's dead when he gets back home because he has to turn off that fusion reactor. Oh, cool, Austin.
Yeah.
But anyways, now let's move on to Electro. So Sox doesn't really have as much to say in terms of the previous movies because he has not seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But for me, I liked him a lot better in this movie. I think he looked better. He had a much better look, was much cooler, much better in this movie. But I don't know when he found out Peter was Spider-Man. That I don't think that happened in Spider-Man 2, unless it was when he absorbed all that data and that's when he found out. They could have explained that. But I don't know. Sucks. What's your thoughts on Electro in this movie?
Well, I've already told you how I felt about race swapping character and how I didn't like the idea of doing such a thing, but Maxwell Dillon to me is, that's not how Matt's got his powers. Matt's was an electrical power worker. He was working on a power lines in the comics and he got hit with electricity and that's how he became electrical. How they did it in that movie that, everyone else fights is not how it happens in the comics. So I have issues with that. Plus the race swapping thing, but he did a good job. I will say this: at least he did a better job playing Electro than Zendaya did playing MJ. So I'll give him credit where credit is due.
And I will say this: even if you have an issue with like the race swapping, unlike the Spider-Man, the MCU franchise, this gets a bit of a pass because this wasn't this movie's fault. That was The Amazing Spider-Man 2's fault. This movie was just showing continuity. So I can't, I mean, technically you could argue that with Zendaya, but that was that same franchise. This was from a different franchise that they're showing continuity from. So, yeah, Sin Havoc, you're really acting up in the chat tonight. I gotta say, you're really going wild in that chat. But I don't know, though. I like, again, they had to use this actor because they had to show continuity. So, but I did like him in this movie. I thought he was much better in this movie than he was the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And now Kurt Connor / the Lizard, who was not a dinosaur, Ned, because if he was a dinosaur, he would have had feathers. He didn't have feathers, therefore he wasn't a dinosaur. Anyway, Sox, what was your thought on Kurt Connor / the Lizard in this movie?
He had a real small role. Think about it. His role wasn't that big. I mean, compared to, so some of the other ones, but his role was, he had a very few lines in this movie. Not my favorite character, not even at all. I just, other than I like him a little bit more than Zendaya, I guess. but in a very small role, and he really didn't do anything. And there was, you could have done the whole film without him. I mean, he was just there just to be there. I mean, Sandman had a role, Ock had a role, Alvin had a role. Everyone else had a role in this film other than him. I mean, even Sandman had a real presence compared to this guy.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. Is like when you have 5 villains, unfortunately, someone's going to get the short end of the stick, and it was, unfortunately, Lizard. And actually, with both Kurt Connors and the Lizard, both of the actors were not actually in the movie. They just provided their voice. The only time you see their live physical forms is repurposed footage from their previous movies. So when you see both Kurt Connors and Flint Marko in their non-mutated forms, it's actually from the previous archive from the previous movie. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was fine with it because you have so many villains that someone was going to get the short end of the stick. He was very quippy at times, but very funny. But I didn't have an issue with him too much. Not as much as I had an issue, honestly, with Flint Marko. And I'll tell you why I had an issue with him in this movie. It made no sense for him to be against Spider-Man in this movie. Because when he was pulled back, he was a good guy at the end of Spider-Man 3. He was not a bad guy. I understand him getting mad at Tom Holland when he thought he killed Electro. Okay, fine. But once he was teleported to that prison, that should have been like, oh, okay, you didn't kill him. Sorry for the misunderstanding. He just, to me, had no reason to team up with the villains. I mean, he's like, I don't trust you. You are going to kill us. I'm like, he had the opportunity to kill you and didn't. He gains nothing from this. I don't know, Sox. I mean, did you feel that way at all, or is this just me?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, even in the comics, Sandman is pretty much a follower. He's never been much of a, broad type of thinker, so it fits his character in a lot of ways because that's just how he is. Even in the comics, the same way. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying about Sandman.
So, yeah, okay, you know what? That's fine. That's fair. But I will say, though, knowing that it was repurposed footage when he turns back to normal, when I saw him turn back, I'm like, yep, that was from Spider-Man 3. I can totally tell that now that I'm actually looking at it, because they basically reverse the scene when he turns into Sandman in Spider-Man 3. They basically take that scene in reverse for this movie, since the actual actor wasn't available to appear physically. He just did the voice. But yeah, well, you also think Spider-Man's overrated, Sin. So I don't know. Sin Havoc is Zod. I think you're gonna have to make Sin Havoc a villain in One Punch Stand. I think you're gonna have to make Sin Havoc a villain in One Punch Stand. So I'm calling you right now, Zod Rider. I'm sorry, guys. One Punch Stand's gonna get delayed right now, because Zod Rider is going to have to redo Sin Havoc's role to make him a villain. So, sorry, it's not going to come out early 2026, guys. Sorry, One Punch Stand's getting delayed right now, unfortunately, because of Sin Havoc and Zod Rider having to change his role. So, Now, Spider-Man. Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire. Sox, what was your thoughts when Tobey Maguire appeared again? What was your thoughts seeing him?
My opinion, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is the greatest Spider-Man / Peter Parker I've ever seen. I loved all 3 Spider-Man films that Sam Raimi did. Sam Raimi is to me what Zack Snyder is to you all, and there will never be anybody that top Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I'm not an Andrew Garfield fan. That does not follow the lore whatsoever. I've been reading Spider-Man comics since the early 80s. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Tom Holland's a close second, but I was so happy to see Tobey back as Spider-Man. He is a genius through and through. That's how Spider-Man is supposed to be. If you don't believe me, go watch Spider-Man 2 from 2004. Sam Raimi captures that character to a T. And that's how Spider-Man is. He's a genius. He's flawed. He's down on his luck. He has the worst luck ever. But the man always steps up. That's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker. Peter Parker is not going to show off. He's not going to flaunt his abilities. He's a nerd. He's unsure of himself. But he will always step up. And that's exactly what Spider-Man is. So I have no problem with him whatsoever. I'm glad he was back. And yes, he was the one that found the cure for Norman. So I've been working on a cure for Mr. Osborn for a while. I think I got it. He's a genius.
Yeah, I really liked him in this. Oh my God, Sin Havoc, just. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, but Zod's gonna have to make the Celestial villain now. Sorry about that, guys. But sorry, Zod. No, I know he's gonna have to be a villain. But anyways, I really liked Tobey Maguire in this movie. What I really liked about him is that he was a mentor towards Tom Holland. The way that he tries to talk Tom Holland out of the darkness because he was there. Because remember, when he attacked the guy he thought killed his Uncle Ben, I will say, like, he had all this rage in him. And I like that you saw that he doesn't want Tom Holland to go down the same path he almost did. Because canonically speaking, who knows what would have happened if the robber in Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man film didn't trip? Like, canonically speaking, Spider-Man might have killed him at that point. Who knows? And I like that Tobey Maguire's really doesn't want Tom Holland to fall down that path. I felt like he was in it for more than just fan service. I felt like it was very symbolic, like passing down a baton. Like, I was Spider-Man, now you're Spider-Man. It was a really great moment. I really liked him, and it was really interesting seeing that him and his MJ, the real Mary Jane, are actually working it out from after what happened in Spider-Man 3. I did find it funny, though, when he said, "Oh, my relationship status is complicated right now." I'm like, it can't be because of Spider-Man 3. Like, that happened years and years ago. I mean, at this point, if it's still complicated, they should be broken up. I'm sorry, but like almost like 15 years later. I will say that Sin Havoc, I wasn't really a big fan of Kristen Dunst either, and you're right, Austin, he did. I mean, he ended up surviving, but he was willing to do it, so.
And let's not forget this, but my co-host. Remember this, also, I'm sorry, I gotta say this. If it weren't for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man would have killed Green Goblin.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what would have happened. He literally stopped him from doing it. So, you're 100% right. And now let's move on to the best Spider-Man out there. Andrew Garfield, the most comic accurate Spider-Man there is. The one who had a funny reaction to Tobey Maguire's comic inaccurate organic web shooters. But anyways, Sox, what was your thoughts on Peter 3 in this movie, Andrew Garfield?
I'll say this about Peter 3. I felt that Peter 3 had a better character arc and a better presence and a better role in this film than he did in the other two movies. The first one I saw, the second one I didn't care to see. Especially when Peter 3 saved Zendaya when she got knocked off the Statue of Liberty. And that was a redemption because he couldn't save Gwen, but he was able to save her. And you could see it in his face when he was being all teary-eyed because that was his redemption right there. He felt that he finally redeemed himself. But I felt that he was written better in this film and done better as a character in this film compared to what I saw in those other two movies. I'll say that. So he has my respect in this film.
You mean in the other one
right.
movie?
I didn't see the second one. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I really liked Andrew Garfield in this movie. I think he did a really good job too. And I will say, I think this was his best performance as well. And I like that you kind of sees, because one thing I was saying in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, one criticism I will say with those movies is they try too hard to give Spider-Man a happy ending. Is that him and Gwen have to get back together in the first movie, so it's a happy ending. And the second one, he has to be back as Spider-Man, seemingly over his darkness, so it's a happy ending. But here I like that they address, like, no, there is still some darkness in him because his girlfriend died. His superior girlfriend to Kristen Dunst's Mary Jane died. And I agree. I love that moment, Sox, when he saves MJ from falling from certain death. It was such a great scene for that character. And he's another great character in this movie. I love seeing him. I love seeing the three Spider-Man get together. It was just great seeing them all together, and including him. And now I'm going to move on. I want to move on to something that really bothered me. Aunt May. Now, not Aunt May herself. She didn't bother me in this movie, but it's what she said when she uses Uncle Ben's "with great power comes great responsibility" line. I was kind of like, this is an issue I have with the Tom Holland films, is that Uncle Ben is missing. Uncle Ben is not mentioned. I understand you don't want to show his death, but mention him, for crying out loud. Just mention him. That's all we're asking. I mean, it would be like doing a Batman movie, but he doesn't mention his parents dying. Like, what? That's not like, that is such an important part of Uncle Ben's character. And what really irritated me, Sox, was that, Uncle Ben does get a mention, but not Tom Holland's Uncle Ben. Tobey Maguire's Uncle Ben gets mentioned. Andrew Garfield Uncle Ben gets mentioned. Even though Uncle Ben didn't actually say "with great power comes great responsibility" in the Andrew Garfield film. He said a version of that line, but he didn't say it like that. But Tom Holland, Uncle Ben is is not even mentioned at all. So for Aunt May to take his line, not even mention Uncle Ben, she could have said, "Remember what your Uncle Ben always said. With great power comes great responsibility." And that's forgotten about in this movie. And it drives me insane. And I'm a DC guy ranting about this. So let's see how the actual Marvel guy feels about this lack of Uncle Ben.
Absolutely right. I can't defend it. You're absolutely right, 100%, my friend, because that is bullshit. They should have something to do with Uncle Ben. It should either be with a flashback or him brought up. I agree. I'm not going to argue that whatsoever, because that is bullshit. I've been saying it since the first movie. So, yeah, I don't like that either. Uncle Ben is key to who Peter Parker is through and through. Like Bruce's parents is to him, Uncle Ben is to Peter. It's the same thing. And, yeah, I never liked it, and I agree with you 100%.
But other than that, I do love Aunt May in this movie. I love that she's supportive of Peter, even though essentially she made all their lives more difficult with the superhero reveal, with his identity revealed. I like that despite that, she still supports Peter and what he does. And even with the villains, like trying to get them back to normal. Peter had an opportunity to turn them, to make all their lives easier and just send them back. But Aunt May's like, no, you have powers. You have to use them to save people. I like that she's a good mentor to Peter. And I did like her character in this movie. I think this was her best role. Like I said, my only issue is that it came at the expense of Uncle Ben. And to me, it just didn't need to. She could have had a great, like everything, literally. The only thing that I would have changed about her in this movie are two things. One, when she says the line, says like your Uncle Ben said. Two, at her grave, show her grave by Uncle Ben. Just do those two things, and I don't have a single complaint about this character. And Socks, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't canon. They lost the right to be canon the instant they ignored the blip.
Are you serious? Really?
What's in Havoc is saying? Well, we'll see. I guess, Socks, what was your thoughts on Aunt May in this movie, aside from the whole lack of Uncle Ben?
Other than that, she played that character right. I have no problem with her. Well, okay, it's a small grade. Let's be real. Aunt May is a lot older than what we see in the movies. Okay, because she's more like a lot, like at least another 50 years older compared to Aunt Hattie. Okay, so but I get what they were going for, but she did a Go ahead. I'm
finish.
sorry.
The only thing I'm going to...
She did a...
I'm on mute. You go.
She did a good job. It's not a great version of Aunt May. I'm stuck with, in my mind, thinking that the original Aunt May from the comics, that's just how I go by. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it whatsoever.
The only thing I'm going to defend about the whole Aunt Hattie thing on her not being old is whatever happens in the comics, I think this makes more sense. He's in high school, okay? She's his aunt, not his grandma, not his great aunt. In the comics, his uncle and his dad are brothers. So it doesn't really make sense for her to be that old. That's why I give that a bit of a pass. But other than that, though, I understand where you're coming from. But now, let's move on to Jonah Jameson, the same actor from the Tobey Maguire films. So, Socks, what was your thoughts on Jameson in this movie?
There's no other actor that could play that role. I'm sorry. No, I don't want to hear this racing. There was a story some years ago. Somebody said, Ice Cube can play Jonah. Go away with that. Go away with that. I like Ice Cube, but that's not Jonah. This guy, I forget his real name right now. It's
J.K. Simmons.
He is Jonah through and through. J.K. Simmons, great actor. I've seen him in so many different roles. He's a great, great actor. Oh my God, this dude is Jonah through and through. Okay, you cannot replace this guy with another actor. It just will not work. He's perfect as this character.
I did like Ed Asner though as Jameson. He was the one who voiced him in the animated series. I did like that guy in the 90s series. But in terms of live action, I agree. J.K. Simmons was awesome, and I'm glad they brought him back to reprise his role. And I liked him in this movie, too. I liked how they updated the Bugle to be more of an online thing, which made sense. And I felt like I like that they gave him a role in this movie. He wasn't there for just fan service. He actually made Peter's life more difficult. Like, he was the one who was investigating Peter, called the authorities over to his apartment or to her Happy's condo. He was the one who caused it all. I was a little disappointed we didn't get a scene with him and Tobey Maguire. I understand that would have been pointless fan service, so I understand why they didn't do it, because I don't know where that would have really fit, honestly. But damn, Sin Havoc, you're really vile today. But overall, I liked his character in the movie, and it was great to see J.K. Simmons back, and I hope we will be in Brand New Day. I mean, I'm just saying, you committed to reprise your role as J.K. Simmons, okay? You knew you were going to do that for more than just one movie, so hopefully you come back, unless it's at the expense of you coming back as Commissioner Gordon. That's the only thing. You got to come back as Commissioner Gordon. That's more important in my opinion. But other than that, though, I loved him back as Jameson. And what's funny though, Sox, is that both William Dafoe and J.K. Simmons were in the best superhero movies of 2021. They were in both of them. Spider-Man No Way Home and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Those were the two best superhero movies of 2021, and those two actors were in them both. He's in Brand New Day. He already filmed his scenes. Okay. So hopefully he'll be back as Commissioner Gordon first. When I say that, I mean not counting No Way Home since he filmed his scenes. So hopefully you'll see him back as Commissioner Gordon next. And now, the Matt Murdock cameo. Sox, what was your thoughts when you saw Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock?
I actually loved it because can I share a Mikey Sutton story with this situation right here, or do you want me to wait till after the end?
Does it, if it relates to, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Before our dear departed friend passed away, Mikey had told us all that the rights for Daredevil were still in Netflix's hands, and they were under that contract for a couple more years, or at least for about a year or so before it would lapse and become, they can get out of it. She-Hulk, God help me, was supposed to have been in that role for Brand New Day. And they were going to cast that same actress that played that god-awful She-Hulk for Brand New Day. Because in the comics, She-Hulk is also a lawyer, as you know in the show. Well, because of the COVID situation and the strike that they had, the Hollywood strike and COVID, everything got shut down in production, if you remember correctly, like I do. And the lapse of the contract finally came up, and they were able to cast Daredevil in this wonderful movie, which is so much better than having She-Hulk as Peter's lawyer. Because, let's be real, it's Daredevil. Come on now. So I never forgot that story that Mikey told us all. And like I always said, I listened to everything Mikey always said, man, and Mikey was right. Mikey was right when he said it will be Daredevil. And I never doubted Mikey, ever. I'm never going to doubt Mikey. Mikey knew it all. So I loved, even though it was less than maybe, 5-8 minutes that we saw Matt Murdock on screen. Hey, man, it was well worth it. And he's a really good lawyer.
And I think from my understanding, too, I think She-Hulk was actually in No Way Home, because I think it was a reshoot that was. That was when the bulk of the movie was filmed. I think it was before COVID and all that stuff happened. But then when they were doing reshoots afterwards, that's when they got the rights back. So then they could refilm that scene with Matt Murdock. I think that's how it happened. But I love that cameo. It was a great cameo. And I like that. If anyone could get Tom Holland or Peter Parker out of trouble, it was Matt Murdock. Absolutely. Great lawyer. And actually, I don't know if you ever saw the extended, weirdly titled, More Fun edition. Did you ever see the extended edition?
No.
But so they had a limited theatrical release in 2022. And actually, Matt Murdock has another scene with, he does become, how he tells Happy, you're going to need a good lawyer.
Right.
He actually is Happy's lawyer in that scene. It's around when the villains are in his apartment. Like you actually see when Happy actually sees the villains on his camera. You have Matt Murdock defending him, and then he's telling Happy to stop sweating. Which Mikey Sutton also scooped. He scooped that Matt Murdock had more of a role in that movie. He had another scene. So
he did.
Mikey was right there, and
yeah.
Well, they were not needed. That would have been too much. And okay.
Yeah.
What up, Bishop? But
Hey,
overall,
Bishop.
I love his cameo. I love Matt Murdock's cameo. I like that they made sure to make sure to tell people that he is Matt Murdock, because remember, at that time, Netflix was not going to be canon. He was going to be playing a variant. So you can't use previous media to tell the audience this is Matt Murdock. You have to reaffirm it with the audience. So I like that they did that. That, you know, that Peter calls him Mr. Murdock and Aunt May calls him Matt. And I love that scene where he catches the brick and says, "I'm a really good lawyer." It was such a great scene. And I love, and the way he like slams that cane down in the beginning to just draw attention. Guys, it's him. I really love that. And it's funny because so much happens in this movie that if you didn't have like the other Spider-Man heroes and villains, this would have been the biggest like fan service Easter egg moment right here. So great cameo.
Did you know that the guy John Favreau that played Happy Hogan for this role with Daredevil, with Matt Murdock, is actually he plays Foggy Nelson in the original Daredevil movie?
Yeah, you know, I forgot about that, but you're right. Yes, he does. Ben Affleck.
Yeah, which is later on Batman, exactly.
So, yeah, interesting. That, who knows? Maybe Happy and Foggy will have a scene together in season 2 of Born Again. Yeah, Sin Havoc is. Yeah, well, Sin Havoc doesn't even like Spider-Man in general. So, anyways, other characters, Flash and Wong. Flash was irritating, but he was supposed to be. Wong was. Yeah, that technicality of how he became Sorcerer Supreme. I'm like, is he supposed to be the Sorcerer Supreme in the comics, though? Or the Sorcerer Supreme?
That mantle has been that mantle of Sorcerer Supreme back then has been passed around so many different times. It's hard to keep up. One moment it's Wong, one moment it's Doctor Strange, another moment it's Brother Voodoo. So I mean, just recently it was Doctor Doom in the comics. So
Doctor Doom. Oh, damn. Okay, but
yeah,
and I like.
yeah.
I love how Flash has a book called Flashpoint. I'm like, oh, nice little nod to DC right there. Okay, we will remember. We will remember. But anyway, what's your thoughts on these characters or any other characters that we didn't talk about yet?
I mean, honestly, we could go because they really didn't really do too much for the story, right? I mean, they didn't really. They were just there for like a couple seconds, and then we were able to move on. So that's how I looked at it.
One thing I'll say about Flash is there's a good lesson in this movie. Flash only wanted to be Spider-Man's friend when it was convenient for him. When it was no longer convenient, he didn't care. So be careful about who your friends are, people. So now, the final fight, the big showdown, the 3 Spider-Man versus the 5 villains. What was your thoughts, Socks?
That was a great fight. And I even before we get to the fight, the whole bonding between those 3 Peters. You know, they're talking about their adventures and what they dealt with. A guy in a rhino suit or fought an alien space. I fought a guy made a black ooze before. And then they start asking Toby's Spider-Man, the webbing, does it just come out of the wrist or does it come out of anywhere else? Just the wrist. Okay.
Imagine if he was doing it with MJ and she had a bunch of web in her, you know what?
It's a possibility.
Anyways.
That was cool. I like that bonding. You know, I did. I like the bonding between the 3 Peters, you know, before we get to the fight scene and they all get cured because of the 3 Peters. And then the final fight scene with Peter won against Norman. And if it wasn't for, you know, Toby's Peter, Tom would have killed him. And he stopped him from doing it.
Yeah, I like that moment before the.
All right, I gotta say,
Go on.
I'm sorry, I gotta say this, man. Mikey loved this movie. Mikey really loved this movie. He loved this movie through and through, Sin Havoc. Mikey was a huge fan of this movie. Mikey had a lot of physical pain. And this movie came out in dead winter, around maybe December, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I
December.
remember Mikey said he's going to suffer through a lot of pain to go see this movie. He wouldn't have done that for any other movie. Unless it was something he really wanted to see. Now, if it would have been something else he would have wanted to see, he probably would have did it. But he made an exception. Mikey did that. Mikey gave us something to look forward to, and Mikey was right about this whole movie from beginning to end. So when I watch this movie, I think about how Mikey praised it, because that means a lot to me. Because this movie holds a very special place in my heart. Not only is it because of its Spider-Man and all that, because it was Mikey. And if I'm biased, then I'm biased, and I'll admit that I'm biased. But it has a strong place in my heart because of Mikey. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and I'll say he was the one who scooped the two Spider-Man in this movie a year before. And then one of his other scoops about Kraven the Hunter gets retroactively confirmed by Tom Holland that was the original plan. So, I mean, we knew for a year before everyone else did that these two Spider-Man were going to be in it as well as Tom Holland. So, anyways, now, what were some other thoughts you had about that fight?
That final fight with all of them, man, and all of them getting cured, and then they realized, before the cures happened, they had to get their act together, because they're like, I'm calling you guys, back up, back me up, what's going on out here? And then they were always focused on one character and move on, and then so on and so on and so on, and then having 3 coordinated Spider-Men take on basically what should have been the Sinister Six in some ways. Good luck dealing with 3 different Spider-Man, because, my God, you're not going to survive that one, buddy. I don't care who you are, including a certain character from Gotham.
Anyways, guys, Batman would have taken them all. Let's be honest here. I mean, if all 3 Spider-Man and all 5 villains teamed up, Batman would have taken them down.
I'm glad you think so, sir.
And I will say,
I enjoy it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, I will say the fight before was fan service, but that's okay, honestly. It was a little, I mean, it was nice that we got to see them bond. Nice callbacks to Tobey Maguire's back issues from Spider-Man 2 and the different villains they fought. So telling Andrew Garfield that he's not lame, unlike my co-host here. But anyway, finish your thoughts on the final fight.
That last fight between Tom Holland Spider-Man and Norman, we knew he was going to win it, but we didn't, think he was going to try to kill him. But that's when Tobey came on and stopped it, and he literally got in his face. If anyone could have did it, it would have been him, because he didn't want to repeat the same mistake he did in the first film when he knocked the burglar out the window, and he died that way.
Well, he didn't knock the burglar off the window; he tripped.
Oh yeah, you're right. But that was a hell of a fight scene, man, because he wanted him to realize heroes don't kill. Real heroes do not kill. I agree with that. Heroes don't kill.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with that. Except Punisher. I mean, he definitely kills, but anyways,
Punisher's more of an anti-hero
than a villain. Yeah, fair enough. But nope, he doesn't. And anyways, anyways, for me, what I like about that fight though is that I like that they kind of address the fact that it's 3 different Peter Parkers who are called Peter Parkers, and it's a nice reminder for the audience, right? Because the audience will call them Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, but they can't do that in the film because they're not called those actors. Like, they're not those actors in that film, so it's like, oh, yeah, that's a really good point. Like, when they're making the cures and then the fight, I like that that's actually addressed, and I like that they address the fact that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they were never part of the larger Marvel universe. They were always in their little Spider-Verse, but they were never really part of the larger Marvel universe. So I like that you kind of see them addressed. Like, they don't know what the Avengers are, whereas Tom Holland was. So it made sense for Tom Holland to take the lead because he was the only one who really had experience working in a team. And I like that you seeing the different villains fight. I love the moment where Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock reunite and have their little conversation. And I like that you think Doc Ock's going to fight them, but no, he actually helped them because he was able to control his arms still. So I thought that was really cool. And then seeing like the villains turn back to normal, getting their little moments with the heroes after they're back to normal. It was all really cool. And it's funny because that trailer when you see that trailer where you see the 3 Spider-Man attack 3 of the villains, and you see like in the trailer you don't really see the 3 Spider-Man, you just see the one, and then you see like Lizard and Sandman attacking Air. It's like, oh yeah, no, there's totally not gonna be other Spider-Man in the movie. We just see their villains and them punching Air in the trailer, but the other Spider-Man won't be in it. Yeah, right.
That is when our dear departed good friend Mikey told us that was Feige that did that because he wanted it as a surprise for the fans. And this is why I defend Kevin Feige. I'm sorry. I know there are people out there that have an issue with Kevin Feige about whatever, and I can understand certain reasons. But to me, the man's a visionary. And until somebody else comes along that could do what Kevin Feige does on his scale and make as much money for a studio that he did, then come talk to me. Because $32 billion for a studio and a vision that he has, I have not seen anyone top that. I've seen people create great franchises, but Kevin Feige is a genius when it comes to certain things, man. So I got to give him his respect and his credit. So there you go.
Yeah, and he did a good job with this movie. It's why I say Sony has not really had success with Spider-Man because their only success other than animation is when they team up with Marvel and Feige. Because I've always said, to me, these movies are Marvel films. These are not Sony films. These are Sony. Sony just gets their distribution rights. If we're being honest here, creatively speaking, this is Marvel through and through. So this is Marvel and Feige just as much as the official Marvel films are. But anyways, though, with this fight, yeah, it was really cool seeing them all fight. And I like seeing Tom Holland almost crossing the line only for Tobey Maguire to stop him. I legitimately thought Tobey Maguire was going to die, though, when Green Goblin stabbed him. I'm like, did he seriously basically just sacrifice himself just so Green Goblin wouldn't die? I mean, obviously there were other things at stake there, but still, though, it was a really good fight. And I like... See, because one issue I had with the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is they forget that you want to hurt the Lizard, but not Doc Connors. That's kind of forgotten about in that movie. Right. Whereas in this, him, along with the other villains, it's like, we want to turn them back to normal. Even Sandman, who's basically being a dumbass fighting us for no reason because he's not being mind controlled. He's just being a dumbass. Even him. But, and really, it's really 4 villains since Doc Ock never actually doesn't actually fight them in that fight. He pretends to only to get the upper hand. It's really 4 heroes against. It's really 3 Spider-Man named Doc Ock versus 4 villains. But still, though, it was a great fight, and seeing them all team up was so cool. And now, guys, we are approaching the end. So you know what that means. You know what time of year the ending takes place at.
Gotham, and Merry Christmas. I hope you're watching Batman. This one's for you.
Laser moon control initiated. Parade override engaged.
What the hell was that?
Bruce, you didn't get him a gift certificate.
No. Cash.
Yeah, can I help you?
Yes. We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
Just said that, Drax.
as the Life Day Parade turned Christmas Parade turned massacre unfolds before us. Both Life Day and Christmas have been ruined forever by...
Data. Hologram. Now.
Oh, wait, let me... There we are. This is what I was trying to do. Okay. So, Crime at Christmas Time is officially here. Crime at Christmas Time 2025 is officially here on Bat Dance Sauce. This means all the shows, including 2025. And this was a great movie to transition because this movie, No Way Home, is the one movie that's actually in two of my intros, in both the Marvelous Discussions one and the Crime at Christmas Time one. So I was really glad I got to use both intros for this review. But Crime at Christmas Time is here for the rest of the year. So lots of fun stuff coming on, including the rest of this review, the ending, which takes place at Christmas time. So overall, I wouldn't call this a Christmas movie. I call it a fall semester movie because that's where it takes place, the fall semester of Tom Holland's senior year, of Peter Parker's senior year of high school. And the fall semester ends at Christmas time. But anyway, Socks. So now, Doctor Strange casts that spell. Everyone forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So MJ doesn't remember him, and he has to rent an apartment. How he did that without a social security number, I don't know. But anyways, your thoughts on the ending of this movie?
A couple things. I bet you any amount of money that a first apartment that he just rented is over on Chelsea Street. Now you probably wondering what the hell's a Chelsea Street. In the comments, when Peter finally moves out of Aunt May's house, his first apartment is a slum building. It's a badly kept apartment. He can barely keep a roof over his head. But his first apartment is on Chelsea Street. That's the very first apartment Peter Parker ever had in the comics in the 1970s. Yes, I remember that. Again, I'm a Spider-Man fanatic. I know all about my boy. Second of all, when he's going out the window and he starts up on the roof with the comic book accurate costume, yes, that costume is comic book accurate. I'm tired of hearing people say, the costume don't look accurate. It is accurate. Go F yourself. It is accurate. He jumps off the roof and he's swinging around and you see the tree, the giant Christmas tree. That Christmas tree is the same Christmas tree that we see again in the season finale of Hawkeye, with the Hawkeye show, where Hawkeye is fighting Kingpin's men. That's the same Christmas tree, so there's a connection between that great movie and that show. That's the connection there. So I like it. I love all of it.
I like the ending too. I mean, it was so heartbreaking that MJ says, Peter, come find me. And then when he does, first of all, how do you explain this? Because you don't remember Peter at all. Like, you have no memory of him whatsoever. So how would he even explain that to her? Hey, you don't remember me, but we were boyfriend and girlfriend and we love each other. That's going to not totally get her to call the police on me. And then he doesn't have his Aunt May. He doesn't have anyone, even though I argue he probably could ally himself with Happy Hogan because it seems they remember fighting alongside Spider-Man to say, hey, Spider-Man, I'm Spider-Man. I'm here. I need your help. Can you at least get a social security number set up for me? Because that's one thing I don't get about this spell. Like, how does he rent an apartment? He doesn't have no one remembers him. Peter Parker is not a thing. So he doesn't have a social security number. Did he get one on the dark web? Did Doctor Strange at least throw in a social security number for him saying, hey, we'll give you a government record. No one will remember you, but we'll give you some government record at least. Did that at least happen? I don't know. And the spell, it didn't change anything physical. Like, how much physically did it change? Because did it destroy all those copies of Flashpoint? But I will say one thing that's interesting. If you, in the extended edition, so basically the extended edition, they have a new post-credit scene that's not the trailer for Multiverse of Madness. they actually show a bunch of pictures of Peter Parker on his class trips. Basically, he's either cut out of the photos or you actually see him, but his face is covered. Like, there's actually a lot of photos he's actually in, but his face is covered by some object or something. So that's really interesting. But overall, though, what I do like about the ending is that I think it really brings Spider-Man to the one we know. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who doesn't rely on Stark and his tech and all these other allies. He's the low-level street fighter who defends the little guy.
Right.
So, but it seems like everyone knows who Spider-Man is, though, even the Avengers, because Doctor Strange even says in Multiverse of Madness, he references the events of No Way Home. He says that situation with Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
So people still know he's Spider-Man, but seeing it, Christmas time, it's snow, the tree, it was such a great way to end the movie, especially because it premiered on Christmas time. It premiered in December. So it was kind of nice to see it end in December. Yeah. But No Way Home was better in my opinion. No Way Home was way better in my opinion. Sin Havoc. Man, but I don't know. Overall, though, it's a really great ending. I'm still curious how he's able to get stuff without a social security number, any records whatsoever. I know he's taking his GED, but you still need records. You still need a social security number. So, I don't know if Doctor Strange at least let him keep that intact and gave him, like, people don't remember him, but the government does. I don't know. But anyways, any other thoughts you want to say about the ending?
No, because now that we're out of the high school years, we're going to the college years, and these are going to get a lot more difficult for them. And they're going to be the darker years. Because if what Mikey told us is going to happen, it's going to be very dark. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to when he goes to Empire State University. That's where Peter goes to college, Empire State University. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Felicia. Felicia does not like Peter Parker, but yet Felicia loves Spider-Man. But as soon as Peter takes his mask off, ew, what are you? You're ugly. But yet she still wants to hook up with Spider-Man. And Sydney Sweeney would make a perfect Felicia Hardy. So, there you go.
And I just need to remind everyone, I'm sorry, but One Punch Man is going to get delayed because the Celestial is going to be rewritten as a villain right now. So, that's apparently what's going to happen because... No. I respect people who don't celebrate it. That's fine. But don't say it sucks. No. Anyways. Great ending and sets up to the Spider-Man that we all know and love. Other thoughts? Anything we missed? I will say, I think of all the multiverse films in the MCU, this film, in my opinion, does multiverse the best. Like, I didn't really like how Doctor Strange did Multiverse of Madness. I think that could have been a lot better with the multiverse. This one, in my opinion, is the best of the multiverse stuff. This film handled it the best to me. It got the right amount of fan service, the right amount of story. This movie did right here. I don't know. What about you, Sox? Any other thoughts or anything else anything that we missed? And he's frozen. Oh, there you are.
No, I'm here. I think we got everything right. Everything was done right. I have no other issue with it.
And I really love that scene when they're working on the cures. That other scene with the 3 Spider-Men. That was also another really great scene. And when they meet Tom Holland trying to comfort him after losing his aunt, that was another great scene. Both those scenes were awesome. Overall, really great film. And I loved this. Was a really great film. I really enjoyed watching it. You know, there are some plot holes in the movie, but I'll let Sox go first, give his final thoughts and give his rating. Go.
Rating 10. A full 10. And I've only given that to one other Spider-Man movie, and that was Spider-Man 2 from 2004. Well, Spider-Man 1 also deserves it from 2002, but definitely a full 10.
I love this movie too. I think it was the best of the Tom Holland films. I think it retroactively made the other films better because it felt like character development. And I will say for me, I can't give it a full 10 because I think there were some minor issues I had with it. But I go with decimal points. So I'll give it a 9.569234912358 out of 10. Okay, someone like Sin Havoc, no. I love this film. It was a great film, and this is coming from a DC guy. So, great film overall. And yeah, that's a fair point, Zod. It doesn't, but it's still a really good film. Like, I think it's better than both of Andrew Garfield's films. I think it's better than Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 1 and 2, though, I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely better than the other ones. So,
right, I can see that. Sure.
Anyways, coming up on this channel, actually, Marvelous Discussions will be the very first full episode of Crime at Christmas Time 2025, when Sox and I, along with Zod Writer, review Iron Man 3, because I haven't seen this for a while. I didn't remember this being a Christmas film, but if it takes place in December, you see Christmas decorations for the bulk of the film, it's a Christmas film as far as I'm concerned, and as far as this channel treats it. So, Iron Man 3, next week, and there'll be lots of Crime at Christmas Time on this channel, Sin Havoc. Lots of it. Zod, don't encourage him. And I am going to, too. But anyway, Sox, what's coming up for you? Anything you want to talk about?
Probably this Saturday night, I'll probably do another Sans rants. I did one yesterday where I was ranting on about some things. I posted it already. Yes, it was about maybe 45 minutes long. So I'll probably do another one. I try to do a Sans rants every Saturday night between 5 and 7, give and take what's to talk about during what I see during the week. If a lot of stuff comes out, then it'll be a longer stream. If it's just a few things, then it'll be a shorter stream. Unless somebody wants to come on and rant on with me, it's fine. But so yeah, look for that every Saturday night around 5 o'clock.
I cannot wait, Sox. And thank you again for coming on. I really enjoy having you on my channel. And coming up, you know, this channel is going full on Crime at Christmas Time. Zod and I will review Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That will also happen. But mostly the focus is Crime at Christmas Time. Unless something really big happens with the Cell movement, like Netflix actually buys Warner Brothers or some other company, or Zack Snyder posts about Ezra. But other than that, the focus on this for this next month and the rest of the year, really, will be Crime at Christmas Time. So be on the lookout. And I do not want to see constant chopping down of Christmas trees. I'm not dealing with that all of these streams. Not happening. So, guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and great Christmas scenery such as this. And on that note, any final words, Sox?
Ta-ta for now.
Have a marvelous day.